Okay, so we're going to start off by reviewing Unit 3. So here I've just got the unit of competency. And the main things that we need to check with the assessment instruments that I've designed is that it addresses all the parts of the unit of competency. So just have a look at this one here and you can kind of just familiarize yourself with the different parts that we need to connect the activity assessment instruments to. And then I'll take you through the assessment instruments. So yeah, this is the kind of the most important part in my view so far is elements and performance criteria. And then down here, the assessment does have to demonstrate the performance evidence, which is to participate. So this unit is participate in highly familiar spoken exchanges in the foundation skills training package. So it's pretty basic, like it's in a Cert 1 kind of level. And the assessment just needs the participant to participate in at least 2 different highly familiar spoken exchanges. And you can see up here in the application that they've given us some examples. So providing personal details, asking simple questions, requesting everyday items. These are just the kind of things that the candidate has to achieve to get competency in this unit. And the knowledge evidence here. So there are all these are the things that they have to know to pass the unit. So about common types of exchanges and purposes and audience of those exchanges. And then some oral and non-verbal communication strategies that they would need to participate in exchanges. For example, like nodding or you know, handshakes or something like that. And then here's the assessment conditions. These are just the things that need to happen while the like, you know, the conditions of the place and the assessment. So what does it say here? There needs to be an expert or mentor available for modeling. There needs to be a list of common or formulaic phrases and that kind of thing. So I won't take you through well, you kind of already know the purpose and the context, but it's basically to find out whether the candidate can participate in these types of exchanges. It's can take place in a simulated workplace environment or a real workplace environment. Here they just have to participate in 2 exchanges. Okay. So we just need to make sure that the stuff that I've designed will address every part of this. So this is what would happen is that the assessor and the candidate will meet at the location, and then the candidate will draw a prompt paper. So it's kind of going to be a little bit random. It might depend on their...
So what's a prompt paper? It's just
so it would say something like giving personal details. And then the assessor, like for example, let's pretend I'm the assessor and you're the candidate. So you would draw a paper and it might say, let's look at I don't know, it might just say something like give personal details, I don't know. Yeah, giving personal details, asking for a beverage in a shop. These are the kind of exchanges.
So the prompt is just what the candidate has to they have to show that they can do that thing.
Yeah, they just have to do it. And it's pretty straightforward because the assessor is like acting as the assessor can act as another person in the exchange, or it can be it can be another person as well.
For sure.
So you would draw that paper, and then we would both have a look and say, okay, we understand what we have to do, and make sure that you understand it. And if you didn't understand it, you would be free to take another one. If, for example, you had you didn't have strong reading skills and you weren't able to read that paper, then we would be able to explain it to you in a way that you can understand, and that kind of thing. Like, the goal is just you understand what's going to happen, and then let's just demonstrate that we can achieve that.
Yep.
So you take that paper, we say, okay, we've got to give personal details, and then I would think of a scenario like, hello, welcome to the doctor's office. Can I have your name, please? And then we would continue in that exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So here we're just having a look at the observation assessment instrument. So this is just a description of what we need to be looking for when we are observing this exchange. So here we need to use the appropriate register and tone, type of interaction, like have a look at those little bits of the checklist.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and so then...
Yeah, I can see how that ticks all the stuff that you're speaking about here, the knowledge, evidence, and conditions.
And then here as well, these are the...
Yeah, I can see that. Identify, formulate expressions. Yeah, cool.
Then we would have like some verbal questions. I don't think we would use that in here. Is that what I've decided we're going to do? Anyway, you can use this we can also use this to show the knowledge evidence. So
Right.
these are just some questions I might ask the candidate. I might say, is a job interview a formal or an informal spoken interaction? And I've put that question in because I wanted to address this point: identify type of spoken exchange and audience of exchange. Because it's
sure.
it's showing it's
Gotta
a
be
formal one, and then we go on to say what are some appropriate greetings for this type of spoken interaction.
Right.
So would we say, what's up, man? Or would we say, hello, how are you? Or would we say, hi, nice to meet you?
Yeah, for sure.
And then here we've got some stuff about non-verbal communication. So what is appropriate in a job interview situation? Is a handshake appropriate? Is a high five appropriate? Is it appropriate to avoid eye contact? So when you ask these questions, you can also just demonstrate them if the candidate doesn't understand.
Yeah, for sure.
And then here, this is an example of an instrument for written questioning. So if the candidate wants to demonstrate their knowledge by taking a written test, so that's going to be similar to before. But you can see what I mean. Like,
totally.
This is just tick the types of spoken exchanges that you are familiar with. So you would just say, oh, I've done this before, I've done this before, I've done this before. Yeah. Some greetings are informal and informal. So it's the same kind of thing. This is for the... Okay, and so this is just this is called a mapping matrix. So you just, like, you have all the different parts of the unit of competency here, and then you have to, these are the assessment methods. So it could be an observation, a written test, speaking questions, case study, third-party report, whatever.
Yeah.
So do you want to just read through that and
Sure.
and double check that all the boxes have been ticked?
you could, so speaking questions, you'd use oral communication strategies and tick it for that one.
Yeah, true.
Um,
Yeah, you're right with that.
Common audience and purposes could also apply for that, I guess, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And participants for spoken exchanges.
Yep.
Yeah, but then written. Yeah, I think everything else is sweet. Yeah,
Okay,
everything
cool.
makes sense.
So here, this is unit 3 that we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to go through this checklist and like write Y or N
Mm-hmm.
if the question is correct. And there's the
So this is for like assessing the thing you've written, right?
Yeah.
Is that what this is? Yeah.
So you just say, do you think that what we've designed addresses all the
Yeah,
elements
okay.
and the performance criteria, blah blah blah, and it's just that box
For
there.
sure. So I'm not ticking it.
No, just there. You write Y or N.
Yeah, right. And then it was.
Yeah. And it's that one. Performance evidence.
Understand what that means.
Neither. Just press it. I don't know.
I'm just gonna leave it because it doesn't make any sense.
Is it enough without being too much?
Yeah. So. Yeah,
Okay, and your recommendation was just like the mapping thing.
Yeah, the mapping thing. A lot more could apply to a speaking questions assessment method.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, everything else is good there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you for your participation. Okay. So here's the next unit. This is the one that you're gonna have to participate in.
Righto.
Make presentations.
Mm-hmm.
So in this unit, there are 3 like elements.
Mm-hmm.
Prepare the presentation, deliver the presentation, and review the presentation.
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna have to review the presentation. Or
Yeah, we have to do a feedback meeting
Oh, okay. Right.
to achieve this part of the competency.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I've done for this one is I made this document, record of assessment outcomes. And it's just like, imagine if we were in an RTO and you want to do this unit and I give you this and this is your assessment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what it says here is in the performance evidence that you have to prepare and deliver at least 2 presentations
Yep.
using aids and materials and selecting methods to review the effectiveness of the presentation.
Okay.
Assessment sheet, and I've got 2 different like assessor feedback boxes for each presentation because as you can see they have to prepare and deliver 2 presentations at least. So there's a due date for the like when the presentation has to be prepared for and delivered and then reviewed, and I mean I guess it can be adjusted, like they can be different dates or they can all be the same date, doesn't really matter. So here are the instructions. Part A, prepare presentation, which corresponds to element 1.
Yep.
Prepare 2 presentations of at least 3 minutes and at most 10 minutes on 2 different topics of your choosing. You are required to plan your approach and intended outcomes, identify your target audience, and take into account the resources available and use appropriate strategies, format, and delivery methods.
Yeah, righto. So how are you going to mark like the preparing it, what are you going to use as proof, kind of thing.
Proof that they've prepared it apart from the actual presentation. Yeah.
Like you could have references or a bibliography or something.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. So bibliography to demonstrate element 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, to demonstrate that they have actually prepared the
for sure,
presentation.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Great idea. Part B, deliver presentation. So this is just deliver your presentation using verbal and non-verbal communication methods, and fulfill the following requirements. So you have to make sure that you summarize the key concepts and ideas and present them to your target audience. Provide opportunity for the audience to seek clarification on presentation information. So that you have to have a Q&A session.
Right.
At least you have to at least provide the space for your audience to say, oh, I'd like to clarify this, or I'd like to know more about this. And then this one, you also have to confirm that the audience understand the key concepts and ideas.
For sure.
And that your presentation, I achieved its intended outcomes.
Yeah.
And then part C of this assessment is corresponding to element 3 of the elements. So you just need to review your presentation. So after the delivery, allow your audience to ask questions and give feedback. And then just to kind of make sure that you are going to participate in a kind of review and implement strategy, like improvement strategies. You need to participate in a review meeting with your assessor to discuss possible alterations and what went well and what didn't go well. So I guess now that we're in this meeting, it makes me think I could actually have a review document as well.
Yeah, it's a
with
good
some
idea.
reflection questions.
That's a good idea, yeah. Have some physical evidence of
that review. Apart from just like notes from the meeting.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. So, what have I done here? Let's just go down to that mapping thing. So the first column is the observation. So yeah, as you can see, the observation like covers element 2, and then assignment covers element 1, and I should have put that in the I should have put that in the document. Hey, I should have made I should make an assignment document that has the element that addresses element 1 and addresses element 3.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Because and I should prepare a third-party report for the observer of the presentation.
Like the audience. Yeah, right, I'm with you.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so the knowledge evidence can also be addressed in the observation, most of it, and the third-party report and the assignment. Yeah. Foundation skills. Anyway, have a look at that and then we'll go through the checklist.
Yeah, I think that all makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah, nothing you missed. Yeah, it's good.
Do you want to go through the
Sure.
checklist
This one.
for this is Unit 4.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, we got everything?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, thank you for participating in this review meeting. Okay, so the final unit that we have to review is a permaculture unit.
Okay.
Yep. So this is identify and analyze bioregional characteristics and resources. So also when I prepared these documents, it's to assess for RPL. So basically the context is that like I've got a student who's wants to complete a qualification or whatever, but they've got knowledge and skills in the area already, and they don't want to have to attend training
For sure. For something they
to
already know.
repeat stuff that they already know. So they want to apply for RPL. And so basically they would probably start communications with the assessor or the trainer via email or phone explaining this. And then the assessor and the candidate will organise a meeting accompanied by all the documents that have been prepared in here
Yep.
that have to make sure that the candidate really does know the things that they say that they know. And then we can assess them for competency based on that, and then they don't have to, or they do have to participate in the training. So it's a bit of a bigger unit because it's from a Cert 4. But you can see here that the elements are, they need to identify sources of information, and like this is like basically research. They need to organize themselves or others to obtain this information. So they need to locate the information, discuss resolutions to problems in accessing the information, and like make sure that if there's missing information that they consolidate that through maybe speaking to a local person or going to the appropriate government body, whatever it is. They need to ensure the information meets the request. So they need to assess information for validity and reliability. And obtain additional information where information is inadequate, combine different types of information, seek clarification and assistance from client group or individual. So they just have to make sure that their sources are valid. So they can't just be taking stuff from wherever. They have to make sure that this information is correct and reliable and current and all that other stuff in research. Then in the unit, they would have to prepare a report. So use the appropriate format and the appropriate language. And they kind of have to present this, like, you know, the report has to be imagining that you're presenting it to a client who wants to know about their bioregion.
Right.
And then here we've got the finalize the reporting process. So there's got to be some kind of official exchange of report and sign off, and present the report to a community group. So whoever the client is, they have to present the report, to talk about the report, I guess. I mean, present the report, it can also just mean give the report and make a record of the report. So you can probably see that like people that were actually doing the unit would have to prepare a report and
totally.
research all that information.
For sure.
But if they already know it, then they would participate in a meeting. So like a phone call, a Zoom meeting, or a face-to-face meeting, presenting this evidence. And that they're currently demonstrating their current competency. So we go through the report that they've prepared, that they've previously prepared. So they can provide us with a report, they can provide us with a research portfolio. And then just to back this information up, we can also get a third-party report from their employer or their teacher or someone else that that says, yes, I backed up, verify this information.
Yep.
And I have also prepared some verbal questions that anyone who does have knowledge and skills in this particular area should be able to answer correctly.
For sure.
So, for example, define a bioregion. And you can see here that in the knowledge evidence, we have a lot of information available. So here it even says a bioregion is a land and water territory whose limits are defined not by political boundaries, but by geographical limits of human communities and ecological systems.
Right.
So this is the kind of key information that is required for a satisfactory result, for this question to be satisfied. Two other important, and then I've just got 5 questions that they're pretty in depth because this is a Cert 4 level.
For sure.
And they all basically come from the knowledge evidence.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool.
So that's that. Here's an example of the third-party report that we would give to their employer or their teacher. So this is kind of, all these questions are taken from the elements here. So the person fulfilling the report would say yes or no. Did the candidate identify sources of information? Did they blah, 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 blah. So there's 5 questions and there are 5 elements here.
Yep.
And that those are all just other important questions for that. And then here we have this is what we would fill this form out during the RPL meeting.
Yeah, okay.
So we would tick here if it was satisfactory or not. So if they have a third-party report, verbal questionings, and a research portfolio.
Yeah.
And so down here we can go through this mapping document. Oh, I've got it in a separate folder actually. Here it is, mapping matrix. So you can just have a quick look through that.
Yeah, that looks really good. That's pretty thorough. Yeah, it covers all.
Yeah, the bibliography as well. We'll account for that.
For sure.
Okay, so let's just go through this one. And then you can give me your recommendations if you do have any. So do you have any recommendations, or do you think that this evidence demonstrates competency?
Yeah, no, it's pretty thorough. I think they have to show in a few different ways that they know, what they're talking about and that they've got knowledge in this area. So I think it's pretty good, and anyone who can satisfy those questions should be happy.